All right, let's dive into a shot that drives so many golfers absolutely crazy. You know the one. You're just off the green, looking at a simple little chip, and then you blade it screaming across the other side. If you've ever felt that pit in your stomach, you are in the right place. We are going to break down a really simple technique called the dead hands chip, and it's going to get that destructive shot out of your bag for good. And you know what? It really is. I mean, you've got a perfect lie, an easy shot, and then you hear that horrible thin click. The ball just takes off like a rocket, sailing past the hole. Your confidence is just shattered, and what should have been an easy par is suddenly a battle to make double bogey. It's a feeling every single one of us knows and every one of us dreads.
The villain of our story today has a name. It's the bladed chip. It's that moment where the sharp leading edge of your wedge connects right with the equator of the golf ball, and it turns what should be a soft, delicate shot into an out-of-control missile. Today, we're going to learn how to banish this thing from your game forever.
Yeah, I'm guessing that little horror story probably hit a little too close to home for a few of you, right? Well, the good news is you are definitely not alone, and there is an incredibly effective, simple solution. So stick with me because we're about to fix this.
Okay, so to fix any problem, first you have to understand exactly what's going wrong. Let's play detective and really dig into the anatomy of the disaster, the mechanics, and just as importantly, the mindset behind that dreaded bladed chip.
The number one culprit, the root cause, is something we call the wrist flick. And you know, it's a completely natural instinct. Our brain sees the ball sitting on the ground and it screams, "Hey, you gotta lift it, get it in the air." So we try to scoop it up with our hands and wrists. But here's the thing, that instinct is the absolute enemy of a solid short game.
And here's the physics of why it's so bad. When you flick your wrists, the handle of the club actually gets behind the club head. This makes that super sharp leading edge rise up off the turf, and it ends up smacking the ball right in its belly. Your swing bottoms out way too early, behind the ball, which gives you one of two terrible results. You either hit the ground first, that's a chunk, or you hit the ball thin, that's the blade. It's a recipe for disaster.
And then there's the mental side of it. When we get nervous or feel the pressure, our big, reliable muscles, our core, our shoulders, they tend to freeze up. They stop moving. So to create any kind of motion, our small, fast, twitchy muscles in our hands and wrists, they take over. This means the more pressure you feel to hit a good shot, the more likely you are to flick it.
All right, enough about the problem. Let's talk about the solution. And it's a really elegant one. We're going to talk about a technique that literally pressure-proofs your short game by taking those twitchy little muscles right out of the equation.
Now, let's be super clear about the name here. Dead hands does not mean you have a death grip on the club, and it doesn't mean your wrists are limp and lifeless either. It simply means your wrists are passive. The most important thing to remember is that the angle you create between your lead arm and the club shaft at address stays exactly the same through the entire swing. No extra hinging, and definitely no flick.
If you remember one single thing from all this, make it this phrase right here: body over hands. The whole philosophy is that your body, your chest, your core, your shoulders pivots the club. Your hands? They're just passengers. They are just holding on for the ride. You turn your body back, you turn your body through. It's really that simple. And when you put the two methods side by side, the difference is pretty stark. With the wrist flick, your hands are the engine. You're using that sharp, unforgiving leading edge. And when the pressure's on, it's a total gamble. With the dead hands chip, your big muscles, your body, are the engine. You use the wide, forgiving bounce of the club. And the result is predictable, reliable consistency, every single time.
Okay, so you get the big idea, the philosophy. Now let's get into the nuts and bolts. This is the practical part. I'm going to give you a really simple step-by-step blueprint for the perfect setup and swing to execute this shot flawlessly.
You know, the magic here actually starts before you even move the club. First, get your feet pretty close together, maybe 6 to 8 inches apart, and flare that front foot open a bit. That helps your hips turn. Next, lean about 60 or 70% of your weight onto your front foot, and this is critical. Keep it there the whole time. Grip the club softly. Think of the toothpaste test. Hold it like a tube of toothpaste that you don't want to squeeze any out of. Ball goes in the middle of your stance. And finally, look down. You'll see a small letter Y formed by your arms and the club. Your only job now is to preserve that Y. Now, the swing itself is going to feel a lot more like a putting stroke than a full swing. It's a one-piece takeaway, moving your arms and club back with the turn of your chest. There is zero wrist action. The downswing is just a smooth reversal of that, turning your chest toward the target. Your wrists stay passive through impact, and then you finish with your belt buckle pointing at the target, the club low to the ground, and the club face looking right up at the sky. Holding that finish, that's your proof that you did it right.
Look, theory is great, but this technique is really built on the practice green. So, let's talk about a few incredibly powerful drills that are going to hardwire this new feeling right into your muscle memory and build some serious confidence.
This first one isn't just a drill, okay? It's the ultimate cure. Seriously, if you only do one thing from this whole explainer to get rid of the wrist flick, make it this. It gives you instant, undeniable feedback.
And that is the absolute genius of it. You just hold an alignment stick right up against the grip of your club so it extends up past your hands. Now as you swing, if you break your wrists and flick at that ball, the stick is going to whack you in your side. There's no faking it. It's physically impossible to flick without getting that little painful reminder. The only way to swing without getting hit is to rotate your body through the shot, which is exactly what we want you to do. And to really lock this feeling in, try these 2 drills as well. For the towel drill, just tuck a small towel under both armpits. It forces your arms and body to rotate together as one connected unit. If your arms get disconnected and start flying on their own, the tower is going to drop. And chipping with only your right hand or your trail hand is fantastic for taming that dominant hand that always wants to flick. It teaches it to stay passive and just deliver the club.
So what's the big payoff here? What's the goal? Well, it's not about hitting those spectacular, high-spinning, flashy shots you see on TV. The real goal is to make your short game beautifully, wonderfully boring. Because in golf, boring is predictable, and predictable means lower scores. Okay, so you're probably asking yourself, well, if my hands are dead, how do I control how far the ball goes? And the answer is just beautifully simple. You take timing, you take feel, you take all that guesswork out of it. Distance becomes a simple matter of geometry. It's controlled purely by how far back you take the club. And here's the system. I want you to imagine a giant clock face on the ground. For a short little chip, you just swing the club head back to 7 o'clock and through to 5 o'clock. Need a little more juice? Swing it back to 8 o'clock and through to 4 o'clock. For a longer pitch shot, take it back to 9 and through to 3. It's almost mathematical. Your 8 to 4 swing is going to go the same distance every time because you've removed that random variable of how fast you flick your wrists.
So here it is, your cheat sheet. The next time you're on the range or you've got a chip on the course, just run through this mental checklist. Stance narrow, weight left, grip soft, no wrists in the takeaway. Rotate the rib cage and hold that finish with the face to the sky. If you can tick off these 5 boxes, you are going to hit a solid chip shot.
Let this be your new mantra for the short game. It just perfectly sums up the entire philosophy. Stop flicking, start pivoting. Your hands are dead, but your body is active. That is the real secret to unlocking consistency and finally shooting lower scores.
And really, that's the question you have to ask yourself, isn't it? Are you ready to trade the high drama of the sculled shot and the chunk chip for the simple, quiet, repeatable satisfaction of a ball landing softly on the green every single time? The path to a better, more reliable short game is right in front of you.